Today we're going to talk about quote integration. Quote integration is a method of building your sentences around the quoted evidence that you are using in your paper. The paper sample that we're looking at is on the topic of Macbeth, but you can use this technique for any topic in any subject area. Okay? When we take a look at the quoted material, we could just skim through and find it right here. Okay? And if you notice, the sentence starts off directly with the quote. What we really want to do is build context for our reader. When we jump directly into a quote that isn't our own, we throw the reader off. We're not providing enough information for them, and we're also taking away from our authority as a writer. Now, this writer did a good thing in, after the quotation mark, they gave us some information about where this quote comes from. So if we wanted to redo this in a more skillful manner, what we would do is take the context and build it in the beginning of the sentence, okay? So at this point, we know this quote, based on the information here, was spoken by Lady Macbeth to Macbeth, and she was criticizing his actions. So rather than wait to give the reader this information, we want to give it to them first. So we're going to move it to the beginning of the sentence, and we can either retype it or copy and paste it. I'm going to retype it to make it sound just a little bit more skillful, okay? So we're going to say that during Act 1, Scene 6, and we're going to change to Roman numerals, of Macbeth, okay? Lady Macbeth challenges Macbeth's doubts about killing the king, when she says, comma, and then quote, we're going to change this to a lowercase t so we keep proper capitalization. And then we're going to change this to a period right here, okay? Now, at this point, we've created what's called a lead-in for our quotation, okay? And the lead-in gives us some specific information. The lead-in tells us who, what, where, and when the quote was spoken, okay? We call this context in writing. We always want to provide context to our readers so that they can understand where our information is coming from, okay? Because we've provided it at the beginning of the quotation, we're going to take out the sentence afterwards, okay? But we are going to leave this sentence right here because this sentence takes the quote and puts it in their own words. That's very important. We don't just want to plop a quote without explaining it. You have to provide an interpretation. Okay? So just to review, when we're integrating quotes as evidence in our body paragraphs, we never want them to stand by themselves. We always want to use context and build the context around the quote that we're presenting. You should never have a quote standing alone. Directly after the quote, you should interpret it by putting it in your own words so that your reader understands specifically what you would like them to get out of the quote that you are presenting to them. Okay? Thank you, and if you need more help, please send me an email.